today. First, Mike Donnelly is the president of Hinda Incentives and a 35-year veteran of the incentives, recognition, engagement, and loyalty industries. He's been named by Incentive Magazine as one of the top 25 most influential people in the industry. He has also received numerous industry honors, holds the IMA's Certified Professional of Incentive Management designation, and is a board member of the Incentive Federation. Mark Matthews is the president and CEO of Pulse Experiential Travel. Mark has over 35 years experience in the special events and secondary ticket market. He's a founding member and former president of the National Association of Ticket Brokers, and Mark also holds the IMA's prestigious Certified Professional of Incentive Management designation and currently serves on the board of directors for the IMA. Thank you both for today's presentation. And with that, I'll turn it over to you to get us started.
Good morning, everyone. Mark and I are glad to join you today. You might see our webcam photos look a little different than the slide photos, but glad to be with you today. As we all know, in incentive programs, it's always been important to reward the rainmakers. They are the top performing sales heroes whose hard work and dedication bring growth opportunities. These are the people who make things happen. They qualify accounts, help you stand out from your competitors, and are trusted customer advisors, and often you're the voice of the customer. The simple fact is, if you don't make these outstanding achievers feel special, one of your competitors will. They are working every day to lure them away from you.
And travel, and particularly group travel, is one of the ultimate recognition rewards for these rainmakers. It offers an ideal mix of triggers to the recipient. First of all, travel it's a very public recognition. Group travel gets all the top performers together with their peers and the executive leaders of the organization who can go ahead and recognize these accomplishments. It's also very social by building relationships with other top achievers. And most group travel allows the earners to bring a spouse or a special guest. So it engages the family to some extent. And it also gives an opportunity for these top achievers to be treated like winners in a place that they might not have visited on their own. And even if they've been to that group destination, they have special features like award banquets and other things that they can do on these trips. And finally, it offers bragging rights. They can show their friends pictures of the trips and really enjoy themselves on these unique opportunities. But the coronavirus has changed a lot of things. The pandemic has created enormous challenges for recognizing these top achievers with group travel. First of all, there's a lot of travel restrictions. 39 countries right now, maybe more, have restrictions associated with traveling during the COVID-19. That means that there could be quarantines in place, group travel, group restrictions with groups of 10 or 50 people might not be able to get together for awards banquets. So there's a lot of problems with doing group travel right now. Also, there's a question that many top performers don't want to travel because of fear of getting exposed to the virus. And that's not to mention the risk that corporations might put themselves in by having all their top achievers and executives in the same place, at the same time during a worldwide pandemic. Most companies have policies against top executives flying together, going to remote places at any one time. So there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of risks that corporations are facing right now.
Mark, the pandemic hasn't just changed group travel, it's changed everything. And because of that, we need to change the way we think about recognizing and rewarding people. Recognition should be public, especially sales recognition. Getting even a few people together makes it special. But as we know, COVID-19 is keeping people apart and conference rooms empty. Our meetings have gone from people being tightly packed around conference tables, screaming congratulations at each other and ideas bouncing off one another, to computer screens and webcams with people screaming, "You're on mute." Sometimes it's even hard to get people to turn their webcams on. Not the personal, immediate, and certain sales recognition experience we all are accustomed to and the program participants deserve. We've gone from celebrating small victories by high-fiving our office partners to working remotely around a kitchen table or living room coffee table, pushing emails. We're isolated and alone. Salespeople, most of them who are extroverts, as we know, can't visit their customers. They can't even shake hands. People just aren't built like this. People, especially salespeople, crave interaction and need recognition to affirm their value. That's why we must rethink sales recognition and how we have to do it now.
Well, let's start that by looking at group trips that were canceled due to the pandemic. It isn't like these people who earned these trips did anything wrong. In fact, they did everything right to earn the trip in the first place. But what can you do to recognize them when this disease has forced you to cancel the trip? Companies need to keep their promises and recognize the top performers who did everything they were asked to do. Their success deserves to be rewarded. One thought is to just reschedule the trip after the pandemic, or if you have an annual trip, just guarantee them a slot in next year's trip. The problem with that is that most of these top achievers win these trips year after year after year. It's not unusual for a program to have 70, 80, or even 90% of the same attendees winning their President's Club or top achievement trip year after year. So offering them a slot in next year's trip is actually meaningless because they're going to be there anyway. And also, these are your top achievers. If you just have two programs running in the same year to kind of play catch up, now you're having your top achiever out of the marketplace twice in 1 year, and that's not a great program for most corporations. So one alternative to the group travel is by offering people individual travel packages. Individual travel gives people that dream experience, the ability to go that once-in-a-lifetime bucket list destination. While group travel offers some unique benefits of its own, let's look at providing individual travel experience that gives your participant some real individual benefits. So group travel, it's great. People get to share the experience, but individual travel offers people choices. While on a group travel, everybody goes to the same place at a set time, individual travel allows the participant to choose the specific destination experience that speaks directly to them. They can choose that bucket list destination that they've never been to and always wanted to go to. Some folks want to just sit out on a beach. Other people want to hike in the mountains. Other people always thought about going to a wine tour or cooking class. Individual travel allows those people to hit the events, to do the events that speak directly to them. Everybody has different tastes, so why not let the individual tailor the trip that they desire the most, and it's going to be their bucket list trip. And I don't care if it's going to the Kentucky Derby or driving a race car or doing whatever they want to do. They get to choose what they want to do and where they want to do it. Another big advantage of individual travel is it allows an individual to engage the entire family. If they want to bring their kids, or they want to bring their parents or whoever, they can bring everybody. They can make that once in a lifetime bucket list experience that truly engages the whole family. Group travel, usually they allow them to bring a spouse or a special guest, but individual travel, they can bring the whole family, and that really makes it super, super special. And also, individual travel is all about flexibility. With group travel, you have to go to a set destination at a set time, whether or not it's convenient for you. These companies have to book these destinations years in advance, and they're locked into that one specific date. And if a kid gets sick or a wedding comes up or something happens in someone's personal life, oftentimes they just can't make that group travel trip. Well, individual travel offers that flexibility where they get to choose what they want to do, when they want to do it, and where they want to do it.
Mark, I love hearing you talk about travel. I get excited about it all the time too. And we all know the power of travel to excite. But let me offer another alternative we've been seeing, where we've seen people using when they had to cancel their group trip because of the pandemic, and it offers the ease, choice, and value that you talked about as individual travel does. In the early days of the pandemic, after initial stay-at-home orders were put in place, people were quite literally almost trapped in their homes. They spent more and more time at home as the virus continued to flare up in different spots across the country. That's when we started seeing an uptick in awards to improve life at home. We started seeing this in loyalty programs first. We started seeing shifts in consumer program redemptions away from travel to more merchandise awards to improve their home life. People started redeeming for what we would call more traditional home items. We saw redemptions for more large screen and high definition TVs and even more of quantum dot LED TVs. Those are what they call QLEDs. They're a little higher end and with amazing pictures. We saw orders for computers and electronics equipment as people were either upgrading or getting tools for their kids as schools went to online learning or setting up new home offices. If people aren't going to restaurants, they have to cook more, right? So for us, this meant an uptick in cookware, small kitchen appliance, utensils, dishes, and in my case, cookbooks. As the weather warmed, we saw a rise in redemption for outdoor living items, grills, outdoor furniture, and my personal favorite, hammocks. This was coming at the expense of many of our gift cards, but some of that is to be expected. There's no reason to redeem for a restaurant gift card when their clothes are limited to 25% seating capacity and you really want to use it for that special event. Might as well get a new grill and some Omaha steaks. We did notice that a lot of our gift card redemption switched to charities, which is kind of exciting. We had one client increase of 359% in charity redemptions in the COVID period. As I said, the first signs of this shift came in redemptions from our loyalty programs. These people already had points in their account, so they had money to spend. In some cases, they've been accruing them for over the years as they used their credit cards or frequented a specific supplier or brand. When the pandemic hit, they started using those points to improve their home lives. We've seen this in the past, as they considered the points currency in tough times. So what does that mean? Well, for us, it was an early warning sign, or proactively a leading redemption indicator, a signal of just how the pandemic had impacted participants and what they value. It told us to fortify our supply line for awards that would improve home life. Remember, when the virus first started, supply lines and supply chains were being disrupted. So when we saw redemptions rising for home items, we immediately started looking to shift our inventories to accommodate these, and in some cases, where suppliers faced challenges with the production shortages, we began looking for alternatives. We also began investigating other award options and variety to appeal to the people who are spending more and more time at home. Then came the postponements of the group trips. Airports sitting idle with no one flying. We all hoped it wouldn't last, and as weeks became months, postponed trips started canceling. Travel bans were, as Mark said, were issued by countries, and no one was going anywhere. That's when we began hearing from clients and travel companies looking to replace their group trip with an alternative reward. Now, travel is often far more expensive than any one individual merchandise award. That's especially true if you're looking at items for the home. But we've taken an approach to create packages or bundles of awards to appeal to the audience and around a given theme. We've also opened up personal shopper and then company-related items along with special packages for their program participants. Some examples, we can create a man cave package for the guy who wants to create his own space, or maybe a rec center for the family. Or how about decking out a special place for her, a relaxing she shed, one of my favorite new items, a she shed, to give her the space she needs to kick back and enjoy herself. Maybe choose a package to make the backyard a family paradise, a new grill, the right furnishings, and games to make it fun for the entire family. With many people looking to avoid the gym because of the virus and social distancing requirements, we can help them create their own exercise room at home with the equipment they need to stay fit and toned. Living into our belief that incentive rewards should be a purposeful choice and trophy value, any of these packages becomes an award that your participants are going to enjoy for years and years to come. And they'll always remember how they received it. And we can always offer participants an enormous selection of awards through our points-based system. We have thousands of awards to choose from. Each person has their own awards account. The client decides on the total value of the points they want to issue, and the participant goes shopping online for awards that speak to them. We make it simple for the client by including shipping expense and applicable sales tax in the point value of the award. The site is completely secure and can be branded for the client with messaging to recognize the participant for their accomplishments. Again, these are items people will have for a very, very long time and remember for years to come.
Incentives are about engaging people. Incentive programs help align the individual's goals with the objectives of the companies to create a win-win for both the sponsor and the participant. Now, we don't need to tell you about Maslow's hierarchy, but your clients needs to know there's a science behind the awards. A program's awards needs to make the participants heroes in front of their peers and their families. When they do, they fill that deep down need for love and belonging. They also fill the need for personal esteem. Non-cash awards offer an ongoing recognition value. That's the trophy value an award offers. That's what makes it so important to provide winners the right award to demonstrate their value and shows them that they're important and respected.
And I think this is what a lot of us really love about this business. The needs for love and belonging and personal esteem are the social needs we all must fulfill to feel complete. Non-cash awards like group travel, individual travel, and merchandise fulfill these needs in ways cash simply can't. They represent trophies and memories. So when your client says, well, I suppose we could just give them cash because we had to cancel the group trip, make sure you remind them why they started offering group travel rewards in the first place. And I'll say that again, remind them why they started group travel rewards in the first place. Most of the people who earn group top travel in a program are top performers. They're incredibly successful and can afford to take the trip themselves if they wanted. These non-cash awards represent something more than their cash value. They are tangible symbols of success that fill needs that go beyond what cash can provide. And Mark, I'd like to make one last point. The companies we have worked with to create merchandise award alternatives for participants whose group travel award were canceled have been aggressively rethinking their programs. They know their group travel programs will be coming back, but they're now thinking of using merchandise awards to help them move the middle performers in their organization. The sales or channel teams in almost any organization can be divided into a bell curve. About 20% are top performers, and chances are they always will be. These are self-motivated people, and they can accomplish practically anything within reason you ask them to do. And sometimes a few things that astound you. These are folks that are the repeat performers for each of your group trips. We call them the A-level performers. Another 20% are C-level performers. They are either brand new to your organization or just learning their job, or will probably be moving on in the not too distant future. About 60% of the people are what we call B-level performers. They're solid performers, valuable to the organization, and typically very consistent. The top trips don't really influence them because they don't believe they have a real opportunity to achieve the goals to earn those trips. But if you could influence the middle 60% to increase their sales by just 5%, it would yield over 70% more revenue than the same increase from the top 10%. That's why some of the companies we help create alternative merchandise awards to replace canceled group trips are trying to do what we call move the middle. They are looking at offering smaller merchandise awards to these middle performers for increasing their sales slightly. In this age of COVID and dramatic change, clients are looking to invest in growth from all parts of the organization. These are great conversations to have with your client during the normal times, but they especially resonate now, as the challenges of filling sales funnels and meeting quotas are even tougher for organizations. Mark, I think a nice combination of individual travel combined with merchandise awards for mid-level performers who grow their business could be the winning ticket in the coming months.
Agreed.
Well, thanks, gentlemen. You've covered a lot of ground in a really short period of time, talking about alternative awards when COVID-19 has caused cancellations of your group travel programs. Now, what we'd like to do now is get to some questions our attendees have asked. we're running short, obviously, but we'll get through as many as possible. So let me get us started, if you don't mind. And Mark, I think this first question is really ideal for you. The question is, with sporting events being held with no fans and concerts postponed or canceled, what kind of individual travel experiences are most people choosing during a pandemic like this?
Well, first of all, that's a great question. First of all, allow me to point out that with our Just Rewards experiential travel packages, these packages are good for 3 years. So the individual award winner, program participant, can choose to travel anytime they want over the next 3 years. So a lot of the folks that were scheduled to go to like the Kentucky Derby or the Masters or the Emmys or any of those major sports programs that were canceled this year, or they were held but no spectators, they're simply going to go next year or go the year after that. They can go 21, 22, or 23. For all of our program participants that have certificates that were redeemed in 2018 or 19 or even this year, we're just simply writing off 2020, and we're just extending those the certificates for an additional year so that the people get to actually travel when they feel safe traveling. We're going to wait until this pandemic's over, and then we'll restart that clock. So anybody who gets a package or earns a trip in 2020, they can go anytime they want in 21, 22, or 23. So those sports programs, they'll be back next year, the year after that. Individual destinations, going to California wine tours, cooking classes in Savannah, whatever they want to do. They got a lifetime to do it. We got plenty.
Well, and that's to your point earlier when we were talking about group travel being, hey, it's to one location, one place, and a lot of times people are winning it over and over again. This individual travel might be a great option for them because it does offer a more extended window, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They can travel anytime they want over the next 36 months.
Great. This next question, I think will be a little bit for both of you. The question is this: one of the big values of group travel is the recognition in front of its peers. What do you suggest clients do to recognize people when they move to individual or merchandise awards?
Well, it's very much the same environment. People are going to get together. They're gonna talk about what they earn. Nobody talks about cash. If you give somebody cash, nobody mentions it. Talking about cash is uncool. But if they just got a new pool table or the all new gym equipment or a new Peloton bike, or they just got a trip to go deep sea fishing, or a trip to the Kentucky Derby or the Emmys or something, they're going to tell all their friends about it. They're going to tell all the coworkers. That stuff is talked about throughout the office. Everybody knows. So you get a lot of recognition, peer recognition, through these type of non-cash awards. Mike?
Mike, have you been able to do kind of recognition for things through some of the Zooms and stuff like that?
Yeah, Rick, good point. We touch on just a little bit with Maslow's, but the love and belonging and personal esteem, are the social needs that we all must fulfill to feel complete. And, using these new tools, what I've been amazed at is a lot of the creativity and innovation people have used to make that a real experience, using the different, Zoom tools and things like that. I was just talking with someone the other day, and they said, well, it's kind of interesting is how they would go on these trips, or they have these programs, and fortunately, a lot of times they were able to bring a spouse or a significant other, and that was kind of cool, that recognition in front of that person. But that they did it where the families were invited to the Zooms, and how better than that to have mom or dad, or to be held on a pedestal in front of their family and recognized. So there's a lot of good, innovative, and creative things going on. I think too that it's delivering on the promise that we make on these programs too. So the delivery of the rewards, the different things we can do there to make it a special event in the home, communications, reporting, and I really do believe the personal touch recognition little notes or not emails but little notes that to the program participant that won the award, and call outs and acknowledgments and those type of things. Again, we're living into that love and belonging and personal esteem that really, as we all know, is the magic of our business. So it's seen a lot of great innovation and creativity going on around this.
Mike, this next question is for you. Someone asked, you had mentioned that you're seeing people actually give to charities and things. The question that they asked was, if one does that, allows them to give to charities, do you still have to have the income tax liabilities of the merchandise award, or how does that work?
Well, Rick, I appreciate the person asking that question. And as any good company in the IMA knows, or really in this industry, we are not tax advisors, and we shouldn't go that way. But let's talk about the individual participant that is using the charitable device, and they should ask that question and look through the the mouse type, as we call it, oftentimes when they go to redeem that, and they can get that and they can get that answer. I know it also does vary a lot between loyalty and then true like incentive and recognition programs. So I want to be a little careful with that for anybody. I was always told in our business, we are not tax advisors, not to give tax advice, but I think they would see benefits there in typical incentive programs.
So it might be a good idea to get that question answered. Maybe they should go to their corporate tax attorney. That would probably be what we'd suggest, right?
Yeah, and I think again, it really is more about what we've seen is that. I keep jumping back to this, the love and belonging and personal esteem side of it. That when someone makes a charitable donation, it sounds like buying something for yourself. You don't think about writing that off either. So it's really that good feeling you have, and it's really been interesting to us as the early indicator was on the loyalty programs, but then on incentive programs too, to see people go into charities. It really, it's really it's been again, COVID's brought a lot of different things, but I think that's going to be impactful in the future also.
And this next question is for both of you. They're asking, the question is, what industries are you seeing warming up? Financial services, tech, automotive, any other industries that you're seeing trying to make these kind of shifts in?
Well, we're seeing it go really across all market verticals, all industries. Any industry that has a large sales or distribution network is actively involved with this. They have to, in these trying times, they have to recognize their top achievers. And business is tough enough in the regular times. During a pandemic where you can no longer get out and visit people and make those sales calls because everybody's working remotely. It's even more difficult to get your job done. So we're seeing this a lot of tech, finance, really any corporation with a large sales or distribution network. And to that former question with the charities, we're seeing a lot of people donate their trips to charities as well, because of the huge perceived value associated with these trips, where somebody can go ahead and earn a $5,000 trip to the Kentucky Derby and donate it to a charity, and all of a sudden the charities raise $10,000-$15,000 off that trip. So it's just a huge benefit to these nonprofits at these times. Mike?
Gentlemen, we're running short of time, but I've got one last question. They ask when you talked about moving the middle, can you use individual travel awards to move the middle, or is that just for top performers?
Oh no, they use it all the time. We have tier level programs that we run just constantly, and this is a standard part of the whole incentive thing, where if a producer increases their productivity 5%, they get one level award. They increase it 10%, they get a higher level award. 15%, a higher level award. So you're constantly urging that middle to produce. To Mike's point, that's really going to move that whole financial line of the business, far more than just recognizing the top performers.
Emily, that's about all the time we have. So we're going to kind of wrap things up a little bit. We'd like to thank everyone for spending some time with us. And a special thanks to our experts, Mike Donnelly of Hinda and Mark Matthews of Pulse Experiential Travel for their time, expertise, and insights. And a special thanks to the IMA for the Revisions Virtual Summit. There's lots of events coming up on this year's schedule. Please take a look and attend as many as you'd like. And Emily, I'm going to turn it back over to you to close out.
Thanks, Rick, and thanks, Mark and Mike, again for your time today and sharing your knowledge with the group. That's all we have for today, so thank you to everyone for joining the first company showcase of the IMA 2020 Summit, and have a great day and rest of your week.